Yo, what is going on, guys? Got a video today talking about some of the most budget decks in the EX4 set. Now, I know this is a side set, so it's a little bit of a smaller kind of booster set, but there's still a lot of really cool decks and a lot of fun strategies to try out. So just going to be talking about what I consider to be relatively budget-friendly decks. Decks that probably aren't going to run you more than 50 bucks. Now, there are a couple of cool lists that you could probably make budget, like Shine Greymon, Alter S/Alter B, like that Jogris deck, but at the moment, like, just those cards are a little bit expensive. Rune modes are like 40-50 bucks. Even right now, like if you went to TCG Player, I think the Alter S stuff is a little bit expensive. So just for now, I'd recommend waiting those out if you want to build an Alter S deck and just getting the singles when they're cheaper. But for now, I'm gonna kind of be talking about more rogue-ish decks that can certainly you'll have fun with, and that are a little bit on the cheaper side. So I'm gonna start off here with Ravemon. This deck is playable definitely in EX4. We get a lot of cool cards. We get the whole Ravemon line, Ravemon, as well as the other birds, Crow, Falco, as well as Peckmon, and then your Memory Tamer, Keenan here. So a lot of cool stuff you can do with this deck. Again, these decks are just kind of templates for you guys, not the end-all be-all list. But if you look at the deck, it's pretty much all commons and rares. The only real super rare you're going to need is going to be your 4 copies of Ravemon, and then probably the most expensive card in the deck is going to be Analog Youth, which this isn't even extremely necessary, I don't think, but this card is really good because when you end up killing your Ravemon, you can trigger this to get another egg and gain some memory and stuff. But this deck's all about like killing yourself. Like, it's the why are you hitting yourself of Digimon, or basically you're just trying to go into Ravemon, you kill itself with its own effect, play it back, and then gain some memory off of that with all your inheriteds, and stuff like that. And I have kind of taken the liberty of splashing in some text. Ignitemon's cool, Tsukaimon and Devidramon are as well really nice for being able to gain you that extra memory, and then Keenan as well. So you can sometimes gain like 3, 4, 5 memory off a stack, because if your stack is deleted, you've got like 1 memory from the egg, 2, 3, 4 from Keenan, 5 from Analog Youth, and then you've got another egg, so you can make another Ravemon pretty quick. Also, the new option card is really sick as well. And then I'm trying to out Back for Revenge. I like this card because you can like play this on your Ravemon. You can swing with jamming, end of attack, kill itself, play a Ravemon, and then play it back with the Back for Revenge. And then play another Ravemon from your trash, because you don't have to play the same Ravemon that you killed. But anyways, so Ravemon is one deck I did want to mention. The next deck I wanted to at least talk about was going to be Dark Knightmon. Maybe not like an explicitly EX4 deck, but you do get EX4 support in the form of the new Skull Knightmon, as well as the Deadly Axe. These guys are kind of made for you to play Dark Knight and Blue Flare in one deck, I guess. I kind of don't think that's really doable or like competitively viable whatsoever. So I'm just going to kind of split it up. I'm going to be talking about Blue Flare in a little bit, but this is another deck I really want to talk about. Really cool deck, really rogue strategy that is pretty solid into some of the meta matchups. Really solid into Bilzamon, can catch Red Hybrid off guard because you've got blockers, of course, in the forms of your Dark Knight X, and you can always float into your guys, like basically almost all of them float, like Dark Knight X anybody floats into Dark Knight, and then Dark Knight floats into like the other two, like one would be deleted, and both of them do that, and then you've just got really strong floating capabilities. So you don't really get anything super new in this set aside from those cards, but then you also got like stuff like Dark Boggermon, which this card, I actually was curious about how much this costs because it is a secret rare. This card, as a recording of this video, is a 95-cent secret rare. I think that is just hilarious, and it's probably really like unnecessary that you need more than like 1 or 2 of these, but anyways, my point is again, once again, these cards are not going to be too much. Of course, if you want to hollow it out, get all the max rarity stuff, that's one thing, but you basically only need super rares. Like, you need the Dark Knights, you need the Dark Knightmon X anybody, and then as well as your rares like Nene and Dark Knightmon. But still a really fun deck, and overall really solid. So the next deck I do want to talk about is going to be like another one of the kind of newer EX4 decks. This is kind of basically almost all the cards are new out of EX4 is going to be the Alliance deck, Terriermon, Cherubimon, whatever. Pretty much everything in this list, like if you end up buying like a couple boxes of EX4, you can probably build this whole deck from like the commons and uncommons and stuff, because basically like all these cards are new. The only kind of cards I'm reusing from old sets is going to be like the spicy Digimon, as well as Green Memory Boost and Mimi. These are kind of staples, so maybe a lot of people have these cards laying around. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. But like Green Memory Boost, for example, it's a starter deck card, has been reprinted. Digimon is a super rare from an old set, so like no one's playing this card. Don't think it's too expensive. But pretty much everything else is all rares, actually, because the Trubimon's a rare, the yellow Trubimon's a rare, all these guys are commons and rares, so it's a really fun deck that you can kind of try out at locals and stuff. Has a lot of cool plays. Alliance is a pretty strong keyword, and you can do some pretty sick things with it with the Trubimon, and I actually like playing Ordinmon over, this is kind of like the budget option. You can play Shine Greymon Ruin Mode if you have it, because that can go on top of both Cherubi as well as, like both Cherubis, basically the evil and the good one, but Ordinmon is like also a budget option, but it's kind of a funny like game ending card, because you can fuse like these two to like summon this card, so that's something you can possibly do. And then of course your tamer that you need for this deck is also going to be a rare. I think this, I don't know if this comes as a box topper actually, but anyways, it's rare in the set, so nothing too crazy. But yeah, this is another relatively budget friendly deck, and again, none of these decks are going to be like super competitive. I think the most competitive deck on here is going to be the last one I'm going to talk about, but Alliance is decent. It's a decent keyword. Dark Knightmon, like I said, it can catch you off guard. Definitely a locals, like maybe a rogue regional pick as well, depending on the meta. But anyways, so that's going to be Bunny Alliance. The next deck I want to talk about is more of a fun deck. Of course, I mean, they're all fun decks, but this is like a really cheesy deck. So shout out to my friend Hunter. This is going to be like a Megidramon mill deck. He kind of came up with the deck, and I've just been messing around with it. It's really, really cool, and you can catch people off guard. But basically, it's kind of focused on the Growlmon mill support. So you've got like the older cards like the EX3 Growlmon and War Growlmon that like on evolve mill and stuff. And then you've got the new Black War Growlmon that this guy can both players trash top 3 and then delete some stuff, and then you've also got the same from this Black Growlmon. So now you got two Digivolution lines that basically do the same thing and just start milling. You've got a new Guilmon with Rush, and then you're playing a bunch of cards that are good to mill, like Wizardmon, Deathslinger, Rivals Barrage, and then you're also playing Gallantmons and Crimson Mode. Now, Crimson Mode, this is absolutely not a budget card. This card, I think if you have it, is really, really good in this deck, but if you're playing this deck, you're probably just trying to mill your opponent out, so I don't think this is like super necessary if you don't have it. So you can definitely just cut this, because I think this card is still around $40. And just play like another Chaos Gallant, or maybe like the BT2 Gallant, or like whatever other regular Gallant you want to play, because you can definitely just evolve it over like your War Growls, because they are red as well, so you can play basically any Gallantmon Mega you want to play. But your main goal is just to like you got your level 4, mill 2, and then mill 3 with the level 5, and then like mill 5 with the level 6s. So every turn you're like milling like between 5 to like 10 cards. And then you're basically just trying to deck your opponent out. And then you've also got the new Chaos Gallantmon. This card is really cool because it's got a trash effect where you can delete one of your opponent's one of your Digimon with Gallant, and then play this at no memory cost, and then you can get some really cool on deletion effects with that. And then being able to finish it off with the Crimson Mode again, which isn't super necessary, but it's a cool card. The other thing is the old Megidramons, which this one floats into a Gallantmon, which you can float into the Crimson, the Chaos Gallant, and then this one plays a Takato and Guilmon, which is pretty cool because now you got a Guilmon with Rush, so you can end games with that. But yeah, just a fun little deck. You could like if you didn't want to play the mill version, you could try just like a pure Chaos Gallantmon deck. Again, like this card's a rare. I'm pretty sure the alt art for this card is like, even that is like under $10. So this deck is definitely, I think, budget friendly. Of course, you can always omit this card and just make it even more so. The rest of the cards like Deathslinger, Rivals, those are all starter deck cards. So nothing that's super hard to come by. But yeah, guys, so that is the Gallantmon mill deck. And then the last deck I want to talk about, which again, like I said, I think is the most competitively viable one, is going to be Blue Flare. So talked about Dark Knight, let's talk about the other half, Blue Flare. This deck, again, a lot of the cards are from set 10, a little bit from 11 and EX3 and stuff, but for the most part it's all commons and rares. Blue Flare has never been crazy expensive. You've got the super rare Metal Greymon, that's about it as far as your SRs, but other than that, your Mail Birds, your Greymons, and the cool thing about this version is if you're playing in the Ulti Cup, that's like monocolor, or if you're playing like the new cards, you don't really even need the starter deck Greymon, the Sec Attack +1 Greymon, because for example, the new Metal Greymon does require a blue Greymon, so sometimes it's a little bit more consistent to just cut that card. You don't necessarily need it, and then just play mono blue. That's definitely an option as well. You don't need to go out of your way to get that card, but pretty much everything aside from the Metal Greymons is going to be like under $1. And then you got a couple Kuzuhamons, which this is new to EX4. Again, not super necessary. You could always sub this out with another card I like to play in this deck is going to be Garurumon. This is another one of the SRs from EX4. Again, not super expensive or anything, but this is a mega you can play as a top end to kind of clear boards if you don't like Kuzuha, or you could play more Zeke Greymon. It's totally up to you. But this deck, again, Sword Joe's might be a couple bucks, but everything else should just be commons and rares and stuff from the past sets. You got your new Dual Tamer, and then all your new Blue Flare support, like the Greymon's uncommon, Mailbird's a common, the Metal Grey's a rare. So nothing super crazy, and this deck is still really strong, especially now that you've got like basically 2 different Metal Greymons you can go to, and of course the ratios can always change. I don't know exactly what the correct ratios are, but you basically got 8 copies of Metal Greymon, you got 8 copies of Greymons and Mailbirds, and so it makes it much more consistent. You can kind of do the things that Blue Flare wants to do much more easily. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for this video. I kind of just wanted to show off what I thought were pretty solid picks for budget decks, and kind of just give you an idea as far as like what lists you could like you run with them if you want to play those decks. But yeah, I would also just recommend, like, if you are in the market for any alternative being cards. Right now the set just did come out a little while ago, so the cards are a little bit still pricey as far as the alt arts. The only SRs that are expensive, like I said, I would love to put Alter S on this list, but Blitz Greymon and the Crest Greymon are sitting at like $10 a piece. I would just recommend you guys wait until like a week later, and then these cards will drop. People will realize the deck isn't good, and then they'll just like be able to get rid of these for lower prices. But aside from those, like, everything else for the most part is fairly cheap. But yeah, guys, that's gonna do it for this one. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this deck profile kind of video, as well as discussion on some of the budget decks. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and we will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.